Here we go. Hi, everyone. We are finally live. Usually I like to do a little intro by myself, but we had a few technical difficulties right now. So messing around with some microphones and some cameras. We're two podcast pros, and apparently I couldn't get this to work right now. So very happy to be here today. When I did the first season last summer into the fall, there was one person that I wanted to have on that I never got to reach out and invite, and that's Shawn Walchef from Cali BBQ Media. There's a list of people that I wanted to have on. If you remember, I had Carl and Meredith that wrote a great book, and I had a bunch of CEOs and Troy Hooper, who I think is probably watching right now,
yes,
and TJ Shear, and really a long list of people that I wanted to pick their brains in here. And there's one dude, one guy, one person, one operator that I wanted to have on. And if you've been to NRA this year, he was all over the place. He's everywhere.
I was loud. We were very
king
loud.
King of restaurant media.
We were loud in
he's
Chicago.
Doing really well, and I wanted to hear it from you. Shawn, how are you, man?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me, Chris. Appreciate it.
Amazing. Thanks for being here today. I know you're a busy man. I think you were telling your TikTok followers as we were coming on that you have another interview after this. So let's get the ball going. There we go. Here's TikTok. Hi, TikTok world.
What's up, TikTok? That's Chris.
Amazing.
Yeah. We'll figure out the audio next time.
Sorry, for sure. Hopefully people out there can hear us. So I see already a few people commenting on the LinkedIn side. Whether you're watching this right now, we're broadcasting on Facebook, on YouTube, on LinkedIn. So if on any of these platforms you write us a question, I see that Troy actually said, "Let's go, boys." So let's get this going. I think even Troy liked my King of Restaurant Media line that I just coined. Let's see if it sticks.
Thank you, Troy. Appreciate that.
Shawn, we're gonna get into your story. I think you're doing some amazing stuff. I think more restaurant owners need to hear what you do and how you do it, and maybe kind of get inspired or understand what the future holds for restaurant operators and what they can allow themselves to do. Before we do that, we see if we're active on anything restaurant, social. Probably people have seen have quite potentially come across some of your stuff. I like to know the people that I interview before we talk about the nitty-gritty stuff. And because we started a bit late, I just something I would have asked you before we went on air, but what time do you need to be out of here?
I have in 11 o'clock, so I have 52 minutes.
52 minutes, so we're good. I'm East Coast, so it's 1:10 here, so 2 p.m. our side, 11 on your end. Just want to make sure I don't go over, and we're tight on the schedule, so thank you for that. But so, like I said, before we go into the nitty-gritty of business and really pick your brain on what you do, I want to play a little game with you, if you don't mind, that's called This or That.
Okay.
So basically, are you more this or are you that? So are you more an early riser or a bit of a night owl?
That's easy. Early riser. Sunrise gratitude.
Always been?
Always been. Yeah.
I was a bartender for years, so with kids now, I'm kind of flipping, but
yes,
there was some bad years there. Are you more burger or tacos?
Tacos. We're in San Diego.
I figured that'd be the answer that close to Mexico and anywhere south that usually is pretty popular. You more Netflix or YouTube?
Netflix. I'm a huge YouTube fan, but for some reason I just don't consume. My kids consume more YouTube content than I do.
YouTube can be dangerous, right? When you start getting
definitely more TikTok. Definitely more TikTok. I spend more time on TikTok than YouTube.
You know what? I need to update these questions. I've been doing this kind of format for a year, and I think TikTok is needs to be in that conversation for sure.
Yeah.
You more chips or ice cream?
Chips or ice cream? Definitely ice cream.
Any special flavor?
Jamocha. We go Jamocha ice cream. Yes.
Very cool. Are you more beach or mountain? I know you're close to the beach, but
that's easy. It's beach.
Beach.
Yeah, we're in San Diego. It's Pacific Ocean. Yes.
Yeah, beautiful place.
I love the mountains. I love the mountains too, though. But I'm definitely more of a beach guy.
Very cool. And last but not least, are you more tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Coffee. Yeah.
Yeah. We've got coffee somewhere
The
here.
the
iced Americano.
The juice that makes the restaurant business flow, right?
Yes.
Cool. Well, thanks for playing this or that with me.
No problem.
As we go through this, there's so many things I want to ask Shawn, but if you want to follow, obviously CaliBBQ.media is the address to find and to basically dig a little further into what you do. I'm curious, obviously, you started a business in 2008, if I'm not mistaken, and it's evolved greatly in the last couple of years. And that's one of the reasons you're here is I want to know kind of what that vision was and all that. But what got you to the restaurant business? How did you get into this restaurant business? How did you wind up starting your first restaurant? Were you in the business before the restaurant, or kind of where does baby Shawn growing up wind up in the restaurant business?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting for me to get in the restaurant business. It was, I grew up, I mean, I have a picture right here of me washing dishes when I was 12 years old at the restaurant that I now own. So I was washing dishes when I was 12. I was raised by my grandfather. I never met my father. And hated the restaurant, to be honest with you. You know, I hated waking up on a Saturday and Sunday morning, going to bus tables and wash dishes. And I grew up in that restaurant. It was a breakfast restaurant about 30 minutes east of the Pacific Ocean. I grew up in a very affluent part of San Diego called La Jolla. In Spanish, it means the jewel. If you come there, it's just an incredible place, and very fortunate that my grandfather raised me and gave me a life of privilege. But working in the restaurant, the thing that really drew me into the restaurant was, yes, of course, we love food. And yes, of course, we love breakfast. We're a barbecue brand now, a barbecue media company. But I think what really gets me going is people and hospitality and making a stranger a friend. And the process of making a stranger a friend, opening up your business and allowing someone to come into what we call our home and what we call our team, a family. That's something that it gets me out of bed every single day, because it's a global thing. I mean, I have New York City skyline behind me. I grew up in La Jolla. I go all over. My family's in Bulgaria. My wife is there. When I go to Bulgaria in July, I'll be talking to business owners, restaurant owners about the same things that I tell business owners here in San Diego. When I go to the National Restaurant Association and I speak, I'm telling the same principles that I talk about to somebody at the National Restaurant Association show, someone that owns a tech company, a publicly traded company. These same storytelling principles are applicable no matter where you are on earth. And I'm just excited that, you know, barbecue media, I'm getting laughed at less and less the more that I do it. I mean, I'm on TikTok live. It says barbecue media interview. And I know that it's a funny thing. You know, we believe in it so much that our URL, literally, it's Cali BBQ media. We've combined our barbecue business, our restaurant business, with podcasting, with content, with written content, audio content, video content. And we're trying to share all the secrets. I mean, I was on TikTok live yesterday, Father's Day, our busiest day out of the year, for 5.5 hours. I was literally for 4 hours, from 4 a.m. till 8 or about 4:30. Troy was there. Much appreciated, Troy Hooper, for all the, he comes from Clubhouse and he's been on podcasts, and we've done podcasts together in NRA. But this is the stuff that excites me. Meeting you, Christopher, you know, anybody that's watching this on LinkedIn or watching this on TikTok, like, if you listen to something that is inspiring, or somebody's story that you go, hey, that's different, that's unique, let me learn more, and you follow them on TikTok or you follow them on LinkedIn. You and I, we've never met, but we're having a conversation. You know, this is what we call deep digital. So, you know, I went to school for business. I never found any classes that inspired me. When I was at the University of Colorado, I transferred to the University of San Diego. There were never any business classes that inspired me, but I was always inspired by the sociology classes. And now I kind of see myself as a digital sociologist. In real life, I'm trying to find hospitality, and now I'm trying to find hospitality online, and trying to bring people together around what we call, you know, this digital flash mob. How do we share the story? How do we learn these tech tools? How do we learn how to use StreamYard? How do we learn how to podcast? How do we learn how to do TikTok live? You know, we're all figuring this thing out. In 2022, we're just in the beginning. You know, this is there's people all over the globe that we become friends with because we're willing to be uncomfortable.
I love it, and I want you to tell us the story again. I'll get into that in a sec. But there's one point that something that strikes me in what you just said is that I think, because I want to hear your story, and I want to, you know, ask you also, how can a restaurant operator somewhere that hears you and loves what you're doing but doesn't know where to start, you know, I want to get into that and get people that are like, I'm not as comfortable as Shawn, or I'm not sure that I can do this, but I know I should. But what you're saying when you say about it's a people's business, and this is what has always turned me on, right? Is because I don't have a lot of focus, like a lot of people in our business, you know, in our industry. I always joke that, ooh, the cat, right? So you can lose the focus and go there. But what I loved about our business is, because I wanted to make people happy and create an experience. Once that foretop left the restaurant, even though they thought I was the greatest thing since sliced bread. They had the best meal. They loved it. They want to come back. And the new people that sit down, within 5 minutes, I can completely ruin that relationship, right? So that's where the hospitality comes in, is that every time. But I feel that in our industry, we're really good at that. And I think that, you know what, most restaurant operators are pretty good at that, or you know, from pretty good to very good, depending on, you know, their personal skill set, how long they've been there. But that makes them so like predisposition to be good on social media, because like you said, we're talking about deep tech and building relationships. So because they're used to doing that every day, it's not just transactional when they go online and they actually want to talk to people. Do you agree that you know, most restaurant owners will have that kind of, you know, they have a head start compared to somebody that's in, I don't know, manufacturing or selling dog food. But now I'm used to making people happy. So I do have that skill set that I can transpose online. And like you said, TikTok, all that is building conversations with people you don't necessarily know. I feel as I hear you, I'm like, man, our industry has got like a skill set built for that, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're hitting on what we talk about in our thesis, and that's digital hospitality. So our podcast is literally called Digital Hospitality, and it's called that for a reason. And the reason is that every business needs to be digital first. It doesn't matter what business you're in. You can be a bakery, you can be a bar, you can be a masseuse, you can be an attorney. You have to be digital first, because that's how people find you. They find you on TikTok, they find you on LinkedIn, they find you on Instagram, they find you on Google, YouTube, you name it. That's how people are going to find you, or that's how they're going to learn more. But more importantly, the brands that are winning across all industries are the ones that do what we do best in the restaurant business, and that's hospitality. Understanding, how do you talk to a stranger? How do you welcome a stranger into your story? How do you bring them in? And restaurant owners, small business owners are phenomenal at doing this. We've been doing this since the beginning of time. You literally can't be an entrepreneur. You can't be a small business owner. You can't be a restaurant owner, bar owner, bakery shop owner, ice cream shop owner, food truck operator, if you can't convince people of your vision. Like literally, you have to have a vision of your business, and you've got to convince your significant other that this is what I want to do with my life. This is what I want to do. And whether they laugh at you or whether they support you, eventually you get to the point where you've got to convince another person. And these are happening in real life. The thing that I'm talking about for restaurant owners is, how do you do what you do in real life, and how do you do it online? How do you have the courage to turn on TikTok live? How do you have the courage to be on LinkedIn? How do you have the courage to be on a podcast? You just need to do it. It's not going to be perfect. My first podcasts were shit. They were terrible. My first blogs were terrible. My first Instagram reels were bad. And we're only trying to get better. We're trying to do the same reps, or the same media reps that we had to do with barbecue. The first briskets we made were terrible. It was the last menu item that we added to our barbecue business. Literally, we had to make terrible brisket before we finally started making, that's the number one thing that we sell. I mean, we did 175 racks of ribs yesterday. Trust me, the ribs that we made yesterday compared to Father's Day back in 2009, 2008, those ribs were terrible. But we learned, we made mistakes, we got better constantly every single day, making it a little bit better. And that's what's exciting. What's exciting is that I get to meet people like Troy Hooper, who are joining us on the call. We get to have deep business relationships. He has conversations. Christopher, you and I have conversations. And then we go to a conference. We go to a National Restaurant Association show, and you meet somebody else there, and they're like, hey, dude, I heard what Christopher is doing. I was on his podcast. You should go check it out. And that leads to, who knows what that will lead to.
Yeah.
But I know what it won't lead to. If you're not willing to do that, if you're not willing to share your story, somebody else is going to do it, and somebody else is going to move their business forward.
That's so true. And it's funny you're saying how the first ones, you know, you're bad, and you have to accept that you're not going to be as good as you want. It'll get better. Proof is I've done about 50 of these, and clearly we can even get it started today, because, you know, stuff will happen even when you get good at it. And anything that is worth doing is worth taking the time to learn and to practice and to do well. And right now, for those of you, I love when you said just turn that, you know, TikTok live on, or do that podcast. Everybody is creating content. Have your voice heard out there. And I just want to circle back, because I worked for a tech company about 10 years ago, and I was analyzing websites for restaurant, and I had to do like
10 years ago.
I'm sorry?
10 years ago, you were analyzing websites for restaurants?
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
And
I can only imagine.
over 100 of them pretty much, right?
Yeah.
And they had to be mobile. And even back then in
They
2012,
had
I
to be
remember
mobile. Yeah,
making
I
some
know.
videos about a website that was using Flash where I couldn't access the website.
Yeah.
And you know what the most viewed page of every website was 10 years ago?
The menu.
Nope.
What was it?
The pictures.
Well, there you go.
And what I
Pictures.
learned there was like second page was the menu because people wanted to see it. But even
Yeah.
before they knew what they were going to eat, they wanted to know if they felt like being in that
That's
place.
correct.
So
Yeah.
now when I hear somebody like you, or I see you in your restaurant, or if you Google Shawn and Cali BBQ, there's a beautiful video from March where he shows, and he's gonna, we'll get into the details, but he shows the original restaurant, the ghost kitchens that they're building, him, saying that he wants, to be the Amazon Prime of barbecue, and then he wants to be the Muhammad Ali of this and that. And as you see, man, I like this guy, right? I want to go eat some of that brisket. I want to go eat some of that food because you're starting to buy human. And I've always said, when your guests in the restaurants come see Chris at the bar or Shawn in the dining room or the chef, when they start coming to see people instead of visiting a restaurant, that's when you're winning and that's when you're creating regulars. Well, now you have the ability to do that on this thing, on digital, on social, on all that. So get people to buy into you. And that's the same thing, right? That's what I do with Piecemeal. We're a tech company, but I figure if I throw myself out there, people see how much I love our industry, how much I love our business, that I've spent my whole life in it. Then it's not just a tool or whatever it is that we do in the back, right? It's not just the technology, it's not just the ribs that you made yesterday, but it's also the humans behind that. So correct. I think it's just a beautiful, way of bringing it that you're explaining to us. And I 10 years ago, I saw it with the pictures on their website.
Yep.
For years, as I did consulting, I told people, make some videos, show people what your business looks like, tease them. And every time I saw a chef present the dish of the day, they would sell out within 2 hours after, because people were like, oh my God, like people want that kind of content. They love that kind of stuff. So,
well, I mean, the power of video, the power of TikTok, the power of LinkedIn, the power of video podcasting is you're showing versus telling, and what we talk about for business owners and restaurant owners is to be the show, not the commercial. And the problem with advertising and marketing is that everyone wants to be a commercial. You want to have your business in the best light. You want to have the perfect Instagram feed, the perfect TikTok feed. This is only the perfect videos that go on here. This is our brand voice. And what you have to be, what the internet wants, is professionally raw. Like, show me who you are and what you do, and show me the humans behind it. I can tell you all day long that we smoked 175 racks of ribs. But when you see ribs stacked on top of ribs, and you see them getting carted from the kitchen, the prep area, to the smoker, going on to a different smoker, the wood going on, all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I understand what this master smokehouse is. I understand that he's telling me that it's craft barbecue, but literally they've been smoking it. I went live the night before when we're putting the briskets on the smoker. I went live the next day when we're pulling the briskets off the smoker. It's a completely different thing because it's not just me telling you. Now I'm showing you with video, and that's the power of video.
Amazing stuff. And I hope that, our restaurant friends out there are hearing this and if you haven't tried it, well, you're going to, go out and just do it. Like, I mean, not to use the Nike slogan, but it's literally just get it, try it, get it done. I started, like you said, I started the podcast. I was doing a green screen thing, and I had somebody on that I really respect, and he had a beautiful background. And I was like, my stuff looks like shit. I need to step up my game.
Yep.
And I'd done 7 or 8, so I knew that there was value there. But I got an $80 microphone, and my girlfriend was like, "Let's build a background, backdrop that looks like you. You like wine and guitars and stuff. Let's be you, right?" So
correct.
So, anyways, it was just right away. It changed the whole game, and it changed it. So it's literally about getting it.
I mean,
done
that's the value. What you're talking about is the value of doing the reps. By doing the work, it forces you to be where early adopters are of technology, people that want to improve, but people that are the best of the best. So when you go on an app like Clubhouse, people aren't just going to join Clubhouse, not if they're not the best of the best. We say a rising tide lifts all ships. And the ships are the ones that are willing to be uncomfortable, willing to make mistakes. The ships will bring the boats. A boat can fit inside of a ship. The ship are the people that are podcasting are the ones that have the courage to go, I know this is important. I know this is important to learn. But just like you said, the amount of times that I've interviewed another podcaster, or I've been on another podcast, and they used a different way for me to get booked onto the show, where I go, Calendly, what's Calendly? that's a great link. Like, how easy was that? Instead of making 6 emails back and forth, I just click the link, I look at your calendar, I book what time's convenient for me, and then I get all the instructions of how to join the show, notes about the show. Like, that's amazing technology. Calendly is one of the most amazing things that we've incorporated just since the pandemic. And I think all restaurant owners and small business owners should use it, because what does it do? It gets back to the essence of digital hospitality, and that's saving time.
Yep.
Saving time to improve your business, to actually make deeper business connections.
I love it. And you know what? Let me know what you think of this. But as I'm hearing you, because, you had a Calendly, I have one, my team has one. For those of you who don't know, you create a calendar, you put, you can put a 15, 30, 60 minutes meeting. People can go and see your calendar. It's connected to your Google Calendar. So as stuff gets booked in your calendar, these slots get blocked on the other sides. It's a really, really cool tool. But I was just thinking now that a business owner that wanted to be even more efficient could even use that to say, you know what, I don't want to spend, when suppliers or people want to come and talk to me, you could set out an hour a week. And
that's literally what I do.
That we do, like book meetings and say, you know what,
that's literally what I do.
Go on my Calendly, book it, come to the store, because I know I'll be there Tuesday from 2 to 3, and we'll do 15 minutes.
You don't even need to be at your store. Yeah, you can literally do these sales meetings, these product meetings, literally by using Calendly. A restaurant owner can no longer have those drop-in meetings.
Yeah.
They go, hey, I'm here to see the owner. No problem, the host says. Here's his Calendly link. Book a link.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, I want to see him in person. Like, well, you'll see him right on Zoom. You'll see him virtually in person. Congratulations. Yeah. And then now you're saving him time. He can prepare for the meeting. Somebody else. It's unbelievably more efficient once you start to use the tech that's out there. But the point is, you don't learn about the tech unless you're actually willing to use the tech, unless you're willing to press go live, unless you're willing to go onto the podcast, unless you're willing to join the Clubhouse call. Once you do that, you start to have conversations and meet people that are literally doing really cool stuff. And you go, well, why can't I use that in my business?
Yep. No, for sure. And the tech is out there. And just for those of you, I mean, obviously you're sold on to it, and you're a great voice in that field. But there's a stat that I read. It was a while back, but I'm sure there's been a lot of tech adopted for top of line and third party and all that. But the stat said 80% of tech investments in the restaurant business were done to update old technology.
Yeah.
That means in less than 20% was done to. So there are so many tools. And the thing is, many of you out there that are operating restaurants, hotels, restaurant chains, whatever, you're thinking top of line a lot of times, right? Whatever's going to do with the online sales or the marketing or the loyalty and all that. Calendly seems like a really dumb, basic thing, but it can save you so much time. Like Shawn just said, on supplier meeting, on booking interviews, on doing all kinds of stuff, on getting your story out there and organizing that and streamlining that. Like you said, here's the time, here's the information. I don't have to send 6 emails. So a lot of times people focus top line. I want to drive sales. Yeah. Question is always how much money is left at the end, and how much time can you save in that to be more efficient, to allow you the time to run the business, but also do the media part of it, right? If you want to be that. And that takes me to my next question for you is, obviously, family restaurant, you turned into a barbecue restaurant in 2008, did some bad ribs and brisket when you started and got really good at doing that. In the last couple of years, you said, you know what, I need to change this. I need to turn this into a media company, and also kind of and I'll let you use your words, but kind of a production kitchen where you have the restaurant, but you're going to start using these different satellite outlets that are ghost kitchens / cloud kitchens to expand your exposure, or to actually go and even reach out your guests in their home instead of them having to drive to you. So when did this hit you, and kind of what's the, it's not even a pivot, it's more expanding the business, the current business that you have, but when did the idea come about, and what's the plan? What are you trying to do? You're opening ghost kitchens, you're expanding the original restaurant. So tell us a little bit about kind of what hit you, what the vision is there, and kind of what you're doing about it. Pretty much.
So our plan is to be the Amazon of barbecue in San Diego. So that is our test kitchen, San Diego market. We've been here this will be the 15th year in business. We opened in 2008 as a breakfast concept, added a sports bar, failed miserably in the first 4 years, leaned in on the internet, leaned in on the smartphone, used all the apps, whether it was Yelp, Google, TikTok wasn't out yet. It was Facebook. Facebook was one of the first things we were posting content on. Eventually it was Instagram. Then it was YouTube. We launched our first podcast in 2017. That was called Behind the Smoke. And that was a weekly video podcast. Actually, it was an audio podcast only for the first 40 episodes until I had a real estate professional. We call him the real estate mayor of San Diego, Kyle Whistle. He came in with 2 Mevo cameras for his interview that we were doing with him. He goes, "Do you mind if I video the interview?" I'm like, absolutely, go ahead. And we realized how easy it was to add video component to the podcast. And since then, everything's changed, and we've literally become this barbecue media company. But to the Amazon question, we can't discriminate how people get our food in barbecue. The problem with barbecue is that it takes time and it takes expertise. We've learned for the last 15 years how to build a barbecue business. How do you distribute barbecue on people's terms is what's important for us. How do you make it more efficient for this changing family dynamic? As Americans, I have a son, he's going to turn 5. I have a daughter, she's 3. We support local restaurants. Sometimes we go out to eat. Other times we don't have the time. We come back from, the park, or we came back from an event, the beach, wherever we were, and we don't have food prepared. We order something through DoorDash. We order something through Uber Eats. Restaurant owners need to understand that we can't just focus on the 4 walls of our business. So for us, we're adding ghost kitchen locations, stadium locations, airport locations, brewery locations, all these non-traditional locations so that they're distribution points. We're adding more smokers to our actual existing location, removing seats. We used to seat 250 people. Now we've got rid of 150 seats. We have plans to add 4 more smokers. I'm going after this call to the restaurant. We're adding more parking close to our existing parking lot. We're going to be building a media studio so that we can do podcast content. We can do master classes on barbecue, master classes on TikTok, just basically everything that we do in real life, we're trying to be able to do digitally. So how do we TikTok live from the smoker more often? How do we show off the fishbowl cocktails that we have in the bar? How do we show the personality behind the brand? We call them friendly ghost kitchens. A ghost kitchen is literally delivery and takeout only, so no sit down. 200 square feet. We have one in Barrio Logan. We have one in San Diego State and Cloud Kitchen locations. So those 200 square foot locations, every single day we're delivering fresh barbecue from the pit to Barrio Logan, from the pit to San Diego State. And we call them friendly ghost kitchens because we're not hiding the fact that we're not smoking meat. There is no smoker at Barrio Logan. There is no smoker at San Diego State. We are smoking everything fresh in Spring Valley, and then we are delivering it for distribution. And that makes it much more efficient for us to feed more people barbecue. How do we take care of more people? How do we get slow food fast? Amazon started with books. We've simplified our menu through the pandemic. We've added more delivery partners. We've figured out more ways to think about barbecue differently, to think about distribution differently, to share it through media, traditional media, social media. And now we're, here we are, Cali BBQ Media. And we're talking about it on TikTok Live and on LinkedIn Live. That's how it goes down.
I love it. It's an amazing story. I think it's an amazing plan. So many questions pop in my mind as I'm listening to you, but one of them that I think is super valuable. Before Piecemeal, I spent the last 10 years as a consultant. I worked with over 100 restaurants out here in Eastern Canada in helping them, streamline their operation, simplify. So many restaurants are, good heart, but not necessarily good finances or healthily managed. And I must have had to reduce the menu conversation at least 85 times of 120 clients
Yep.
I work with. So everybody's perception is always, no, I need to have a bigger offer because
Correct.
I'm going to attract more people. And I was like, no, you need a
Correct.
smaller offer for many things. Easier to order, easier to prep, easier to deliver, easier for your staff to explain and your team to explain to your guests, and to make sure, and then also to keep consistency, and have a constant experience that people get when they come back. You reduce your menu by how much, you said?
90%. So we
90%.
got rid of all the breakfast items. We got rid of all the steaks. We got rid of the salads. We're trying to just do barbecue, just do what we do best. I mean, one of the most difficult lessons that we learned is just because you can do it doesn't mean you should do it. And the more that you simplify your process, just because you can do it doesn't mean you should do it. And when you're opening a restaurant in the village, it doesn't matter where you are, in the city, in the county, no matter where you are, somebody comes in and they go, oh, you should have soup. You should have daily soup. Well, the amount of time and effort that it takes to make a fresh daily soup and the amount that you have to sell and the resources that you have to put in order to sell this daily cream of broccoli soup, it is very significant when you could be focusing on, how do I sell more barbecue? I'm already cooking brisket. How do I find more ways to sell more barbecue, to sell more brisket? Because that's just adding another brisket into the smoker.
This is amazing, valuable information you're sharing here. It's so simple. I mean, Chris was on LinkedIn, says, the KISS principle, keep it
Yes.
simple.
What's up, Chris?
Sam or somebody else, I don't know, keep it simple. I think
Keep it simple, stupid.
but
Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah,
I think that's still PC. We can go with keep it simple, stupid.
Is it? Cool.
Yeah, it's fine.
But yeah, do what you do well and do more of that.
Yes.
It's the same way that, I don't want to go too deep in that, but every time I talk to somebody, they wanted to open up at lunch or brunch or breakfast. And I was like,
Correct.
You know what? You might as well do late night, try to get one more flip. You're opening at 5, right? Let's say you get the regular flip at, a bit of business at 5, flip at 7, flip at 9, whether it's even in-house or delivery, right? Those are kind of, there's peaks, right? Try to get an 11 o'clock flip of industry people or people who work out, who work late. And this is the same food, the same staff. They can do, an 8-9 hour shift and try to max whatever you can at the end of that shift.
Yep.
So this is, there's another Christopher. It's a Christopher they hear. There's another Christopher saying,
oh, that's C2M. That's my man.
Stick to your strengths, right? And it says great advice because he corrected it after. But
that's Christopher. He's a friend on Clubhouse. So we met on Clubhouse, and then we met in real life. So it's digital hospitality. What's up, Chris? Thanks.
It's a day of Christophers here.
Yes.
But yeah, go deep on your strengths, right? Even in life, I mean, that's one of the greatest advice I've gotten as I turn, in my 40s, and I have young kids too, and I have a 4.5 and 1.5-year-old too at home.
There you go. You're just like me.
I know how crazy your household must be.
Yes.
But I've dug deeper into my strengths, and it's surround yourself by people that are better at what you're not, but go deeper in the same thing, right? Simplify the menu, and then make sure that you can push more of that instead of trying to be everything to everyone. And even if you do that, what you wind up doing is kind of being maybe not mediocre, but kind of half, it's hard to be good at everything. So you might as well focus. And I love the example of the flashlight, right? The flashlight has 2 modes. It has the really focused mode where you can, light 30 feet in the woods. And it's also got the really wide one where you see about 2 feet in front of you, but kind of wide. And if you do that, you kind of dilute that focus and that power. So
it's a good analogy. I like that flashlight.
Yeah, you can steal that one. I don't know where I stole it from, but
cool.
Now, I love what you're saying with, expanding your footprint. And again, like you say, going deeper on your strengths. Now, I'm guessing for that, it's probably easy for you, Shawn, because, you have a great personality and you probably had a beautiful restaurant that was like brand new and a ton of money, and you had everything to start and do this, right? So anybody else in, the US or Canada that's listening to us, they probably can't do what you do because, they don't have what you had when you started. Am I wrong?
You're wrong. You're 100% wrong. Yeah, we struggled like hell. I mean, to be honest with you, we struggled like hell in 2008, and that's why now, 15 years later, looking back at all the things that we've learned, all the things that we believe to our core about storytelling, about technology, about social media, about all the things that we've learned how to do, is that anybody can do them. It's not difficult. Everyone thinks that in order to become a media company, you need a media production team. And I'll tell you right now that not only will that cost you too much money, but it will be too quick it will not allow you to execute quick enough. The only thing that you need is the courage to start and the consistency. Yeah. So the answer to the internet is easy. It's about quantity, speed, consistency equals quality. The problem is that everyone wants quality first, and they're not willing to start with quantity. The more shots that you take, the more practice that you do, the better you get. And if you're willing to ask people that are already there, that are already doing it, hey, how did you do it? How did you start your podcast? How did you start going on TikTok Live? How did you start making short form video? How did you turn that video into a deal with Entrepreneur Magazine, where now you have Toast as a title sponsor, and you have Pop Menu, and you're doing these things, these events, and you're bringing a film crew to Chicago? How did you do all that? Ask the question. If you ask the question, then you can do it. But more importantly, no one is going to tell your story for you. No one. That's what I thought. I thought if we built a great restaurant, if we had a great business, if we had great barbecue and a different, unique location that the local news would be like, oh my God, I've got to come and write about Cali BBQ. I've got to come to Spring Valley. The local radio station would want to come and do a story. The food writers would want to come and blog or write in the magazines about us. Guess what? No one came.
Yeah.
That was literally the point where we decided we're going to do it ourselves. And as bad as it was when it started, it only continued every single day to get a little bit better. The podcast got a little bit better. The videos got a little bit better. The photos got a little bit better. The audio got a little bit better. But the problem is we want it all to be perfect, back to be the show, not the commercial. Everyone wants the commercial for their business. Every small business owner wants to have that Super Bowl commercial. I want it. I want to have the sexy drone footage and the highlight, incredible reels of the barbecue coming off the pit. But that's going to prevent me from ever hitting publish. The only way to learn is to hit publish. And who cares if one person saw it? Who cares if 100 people saw it? Who cares if 100 people said that's disgusting barbecue? I mean, I was literally on LinkedIn Live, on TikTok Live for 5 hours. And how many people had comments? I mean, I see where the fear is with business owners.
Yeah.
Because there were people saying, oh, that's a dirty part of the kitchen. Or did he change gloves? There were comments like that. But that was one out of, literally, we had 100,000 people. In the 5 hours that we did, 100,000 people tuned into this TikTok Live. And there were like 5 negative comments outside of the hundreds, if not thousands of positive comments. Where are you? Who are you? What are you located? This is all discovery.
Where can I try this? And
where can I try this? What are you doing? Can I go to your website? Can I listen to your podcast?
You said when you started, the moving to the media company that in storytelling, you said before something that really hit me. You said people laugh at me less and less.
Yeah.
And I think if people aren't, when you have an idea, when you want to do something different, when you want to stand out, if somebody's not laughing at you, you're probably not dreaming big enough, and you're probably not trying hard enough at doing something.
I
right?
Wholeheartedly agree.
I've lived it. Everybody said we were crazy to do what we're trying to do with Piecemeal. Everybody said probably told you the same thing. And it's funny now that we know there's traction and we're growing, you're growing. People aren't laughing as much and they're like, what did you do exactly and how did you do it? And when you talk about, I love these one-liners are great. And you said you just have to press publish, right? You have to push the button, right, and do it. When I started my podcast, I was using this little webcam. I don't know what you're broadcasting on, but when you talk about getting better and using stuff, it took me a little bit of figuring out. But I don't know what you're casting on right now. I'm casting on my iPhone. Most of you out there have an iPhone. I've
got my iPhone here and then my MacBook.
Because you're doing the TikTok on the other side, right?
Correct.
I just wanted kind of a bit of a better quality, and I realized iPhones are 4Ks now, right? Or your Android is probably at least 1080 or 720p, so you can already film and broadcast in HD. So it's the tools are there. Like I decided to buy a microphone. I didn't have to. A lot of people use earpods and they work great, and I figured I like the look of it, and I figured it looked well with the guitars and stuff. But what I mean is I didn't have to go out and spend. People think they need to spend a ton of money. There's a bunch of software. I'm using StreamYard to broadcast.
You can literally do a podcast on your iPhone.
Yeah,
you can use Anchor.
All the tools are there. It's never easier than it's never been this easy to do content, to create it, to broadcast it, to send it out there. So I mean, I don't want to name all the tools, but there's so many ways for you to get your story out there and to use video and to get people to hear it. I love it. You said 100,000 people saw your
100,000 people. I mean, I can't make that up. It was absolutely insane. I mean, I still can't believe it. And that's why we're going to be doing TikTok lives all the way till I get to Bulgaria, and I'll probably do them in Bulgaria as well. But I mean, when we see something like that, when the data shows us that people want it, people are engaging, then we are going to give them more. Like, do more of that. Like it's not that difficult. If TikTok live is working and we're connecting with an audience, we're building an audience, people are finding out who we are and what we do more of it. Don't do less.
And your friend Christopher from makes a really good point here. He says, any feedback is good feedback. You can learn from any data that viewers are willing to share. And I like the last part, especially. He said, if all comments are super positive, it feels manufactured. Correct. And that's totally true, right? If somebody's saying, oh, you didn't change the gloves, most people are reading through that. The same way that if I read comments on Expedia or whatever, TripAdvisor, I know that the person, when it's saying it's the most horrible place they've ever been, and then there's 10 people are like, you know what, overall this was pretty good. I know
Correct.
that there's people who are more demanding, or people that just love to go and bitch on the internet. So it's kind
Yep.
of like, most people read through the bullshit. So don't be afraid. Like you said, a lot of business owners are afraid if they go out there, they put themselves out there, they may look, stupid, or somebody may say something negative. People
Yep.
read through that, right? We see the
Correct.
trolls on Facebook and everywhere else, and the negativity that's there. So it's like, no, focus on the 98% or 99 in your case yesterday that was positive, even more than that. If you had 100,000, it was probably 99.9 that was positive. And then 1% of people that's just looking for shit to pick at or to prove that they're no better than everybody. So then that's not what your followers or people watching you, that's not what they look at. They want to hear your story. They want to hear you.
The beautiful thing about going live is that it removes the thinking. You don't think anymore. You're hitting publish. You're literally publishing live.
Yeah.
So if you have a fear of publishing content, if you record a video, a short form video, less than 60 seconds, selfie video of you talking about your business, who you are and what you do, and then you watch that video. I mean, one of the hardest things, if I watch something or if I take 2 takes, I'm not going to fucking publish it, because it only gets worse and worse and worse. What's most important is to have the courage to do it and then to hit publish. And if it's no good, then you just do better the next time. But if you don't hit publish, then it's only content that lives on your phone or on your laptop, and that does no good. Like, you have to publish the content and let the internet decide, let the community decide, this is interesting, this isn't interesting.
This is the reason why this podcast is live right now.
Yes.
I had somebody on recently, and I tell people that it's live, and somebody after the fact said, "Oh my God, you posted that up really quickly." I'm like, "No, we were live." Like, there is, and I always tell people that I'm always afraid that somebody says something at one point and they say, "Oh, can you edit that out?" And I'm like, "No, we're live," because I feel it keeps you on your toes. And you know what? If something happens, it happened. Like, we started and it was a bit of a mess, and we're here and we're talking. So get going and get it done. So if you had to give advice, I know your advice has been just do it, pretty much, is get going and do it. But I'm an operator. I'm a restaurant operator. I love what you're doing, Shawn. I'm motivated right now. I'm excited to see what can I do for my business. If you had to pick one platform right now, because I'm not sure, can I do, do I want to do YouTube, the Facebook, the TikTok? Like, if a restaurant owner is listening right now, he says, I'm going to try it. I'm just going to press publish. I'm going to do something.
Easy.
What would it be?
I've never been more confident. It would be go on TikTok. If you're a restaurant owner, if you're a business owner, literally go on TikTok, claim your brand page, fill out all the information about your business, and then literally start going live in your business. Let your customers see the stuff that they don't see. Yeah. So if you're a restaurant, bring them into the kitchen. So restaurant owners, if you have investors, if you have family, if you have friends, like, we all know who they are, the people that are allowed into your kitchen, into your safe space. Well, the magic is right now, you can bring the whole world into your kitchen, into your safe space, and you can build all the connections that you want. All the people that you have empty seats in your restaurant, you need butts and seats. These are humans. Humans want a connection to their village. There's people that live in Spring Valley that still haven't been into Spring Valley. I mean, I literally for 10 years shut down the entire street in front of our restaurant so that people would disrupt their patterns of behavior. So instead of driving past our restaurant, they would go, "Hey, what's happening? Why is the California Highway Patrol and the fire department, what's going on? Why are there so many people in front of this restaurant? Maybe now I should stop and go inside." Yeah. But with TikTok, you can literally hit go live. You don't even need to be doing short form video, and you can bring people into your business. Yeah. And then all of the other fear of publishing, the fear of the perfect content goes away. Literally, it's the easiest thing that you can do today, right now. If you're on LinkedIn and you're thinking about doing it, do a TikTok live. Talk about your business, talk about what you do. Doesn't matter where you are in business. If you're a tech company, if you're in the food service business, if you're an attorney, like, bring people into your process of who you are and what you do, and you'd be shocked. You'd be shocked. The more that you do that, the more that you can actually start to build a connection with true people all over the globe in your industry.
I love it. And if you're shy or you're like, I want to try this, but you know what? Use your team, especially front of house. I'm sure you have people that are loudmouth like me. I used to be a bartender for years. You go to the bar and say, "Listen, let's show you said you have some fishbowl drinks. Hey, how about we go live and we show people how we make our fishbowl margarita right now?" Yep. Cool. I'm here with Tim. Tim, show us. Mary, go over here. Show us how we make this. Boom. We're on TikTok live. We're going to show you our recipe. You want to try it at home? Make it. Otherwise, come down. We'll make you one. Boom, boom, boom. They make it. Come and taste it. You'd be surprised how many people go see that and like, "Oh man, I feel like having one of these. Let's go and try it out." So use your team. You have people on your team. People in the restaurant business are pretty outgoing for the most part. use them and combine it with them. Do it with somebody else. If you're afraid of doing it by yourself, then bring somebody on with you, right?
Yep.
What would you tell a younger Shawn from 2007 before you started this adventure? If you had one or two tips that you would give yourself going back 15 years now, what advice would you like to share with a younger you?
Listen to your heart. There's going to be a lot of people that won't believe in what you believe in and don't believe in your skill set. And my skill set is very different than most restaurant owners. I mean, most people, the things that I do, we put on an amateur barbecue contest. We invited all the other barbecue brands in San Diego. We believe a rising tide lifts all ships. We turned a breakfast restaurant that was beloved for decades into a barbecue business, into a barbecue media business. All of those times, all of those changes, all of those drastic changes, becoming the Amazon of barbecue, removing seats in the restaurant, removing servers from our restaurant, using Toast Order and Pay, all of these things that we did, there was resistance. There was resistance. There were haters. There were people that doubted me. I doubted myself. And if I could go back and say, don't doubt yourself. If you believe in it, go after it. And what's the worst thing that can happen? We've made plenty of mistakes. We've made plenty of mistakes along the way, things that I thought would work that didn't work. But if you're not willing to try it, if you don't have the courage to consistently pursue it, to try to get better at it, the number one rule of business is to stay in business. If you're not in business, you're done. So if you're an entrepreneur and you open up and you get in business, the number one rule is stay in business. Literally do anything and everything you can to stay in business. And what I do now on a daily basis, I'm here at a podcast studio, TikToking live, Instagramming live, LinkedIn live. Who would have ever thought that as a breakfast restaurant in 2008, with one of my best friends from college, that we were going to add a sports bar, that 15 years later, I would be doing the things that I'm doing. I couldn't even have predicted that. But here I am, and there's nothing else I'd rather do in the world. I'm literally leaving my restaurant business to go to Bulgaria, the other side of the earth, and I'll be there for 1 month. The only way that I'm able to do that is because I have an incredible team. I have an incredible team, and I have the technology of the internet. I can check in on my team. I can use Calendly. I can use Zoom. I can use TikTok. I can use Instagram. I can publish content. I have a whole media side. Stover, Toby, TJ, Steven, all of these people are going to help produce the content on a weekly basis for our Show for Entrepreneur magazine, for our digital hospitality show. I'm going to be on Clubhouse from the other side of the earth, connecting with people from Canada, from the United States, from Bulgaria, from Australia, because we're willing to do it. We're willing to put in the consistent work, and there's nothing else that I'd rather do.
That's amazing. Time is running out. I want to do a couple of rapid fire questions with you, but before we do that, if people want to try your food, they want to try out there in Southern California, what's the best place to find you? How can they try this beautiful barbecue? How can they be part of your story? And
I appreciate that. Yeah, the easiest is to go to our website, calibbq.media. You can buy barbecue online. We have 3 restaurants in San Diego, soon to be 5 with a Snapdragon Stadium, but go to calibbq.media. You can find our podcast, digital hospitality and restaurant influencers there. And you can always find me at Shawn P Walchef, ShawnPWalchef. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on TikTok. You can find me on Instagram. I am weirdly available.
Very accessible, weirdly available.
Yes.
Before I let you go, I know you. We have 3-4 minutes left before you go to your next interview, but a couple of rapid fires. You enjoy a beverage once in a while?
I'm sober.
You're sober?
So, yes.
Amazing. That's why you get up early in the morning. That's amazing.
I've been sober for a decade. I was a Hall of Fame drinker, but yes, I'm sober, and what I'm proud of is that all my children, my daughter and my son, when they see Daddy's soda, it's not beer or a cocktail. It's a Perrier.
And you know what? Healthy restaurant owners is a beautiful thing. I've had great conversations on Clubhouse on the subject, actually, on how we can make our industry healthier.
Are you on Clubhouse?
I am. And
why aren't you joining?
We were on a call a while ago about
you joining us? Join us on Wednesdays and Fridays.
I did 2 weeks ago on the
good.
time management or something.
Okay, good. Oh, that's right. That's right. You come back. Keep coming back.
For sure, I
Bring
will.
some
And
friends.
3 words that best describe you.
3 words: curious, um, friend, and persistent.
Those are very nice qualities. I parachute you on a desert island. You can bring 1 album of music. What would it be?
Eminem.
Eminem? Which one?
Probably. It's a good question. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
And an Eminem album
An
of some kind.
Eminem album for sure. Yeah.
That's amazing. I kind of know the answer with you, but I ask everybody this because of the pandemic and everything that's happened. In the next 3 years, are we opening restaurants or not?
Opening restaurants?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Are we opening new restaurants, new ghost kitchens? Are we expanding, or are we
Oh,
just
yeah.
sitting on our hands because we want to save our rear end?
No chance. We're expanding.
Yeah.
If you don't expand, you die. Yes,
Anything
expansion.
that doesn't expand is dying. I'll tell you. Yeah, I agree. Are
Yeah.
you're a bit of a reader? Anything you're reading
Yes.
right now we should read?
What do I have? What did I just reread The Alchemist. It's my favorite book. So
Amazing.
The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho.
Paulo Coelho. I was afraid to say the name because I'm always afraid to mess it up in
Paulo
English.
Coelho. Have you
Paulo
read it?
Coelho.
Have you read it?
A long time ago. I probably need to
Read
read
it
it again.
Read it
Yeah.
again. It's
Yeah, you
amazing.
need to go back to the classics, right?
It's amazing.
You said before you're a big Netflix fan. What's the series are you watching now, or anything you've watched recently we should check out?
I'm watching Winning Time. That's about the Lakers dynasty, all about Jerry Buss, which is really cool. And then I just finished Super Pumped, which is the Travis Kalanick Uber story.
I want to watch that so bad. I watched the one about is it Elizabeth Holmes? No, is it,
Elizabeth Holmes? Yes.
The
I haven't seen that one yet.
the blood. Anyways, I may be missing it
Was
myself.
it good? Because I saw.
I loved it. I thought it was amazing because I heard as a story, but I really want to watch Super Pumped too.
We Crashed is amazing. Jared Leto.
There's only 3 series I want to watch.
Yep.
I've watched one of them, but
Highly
definitely want to get to
recommend.
the others.
Yep.
If you could have dinner with anyone, who would that be?
Anyone, alive or dead?
Yeah, alive or dead?
Kobe Bryant.
Oh my God, yes. My girlfriend's, my wife's, so she doesn't have a ring on her finger, but we have 2 kids together. But that was her idol entire life. She's not, and yeah, that was a rough day when we found out about him. And yeah, he's such an inspiring guy. Shawn, I want to thank you so much for coming on today. Everybody, you know where you can find Shawn. Hit up the website. Find him on TikTok or anywhere that you're using social. This was an amazing conversation. We could have gone on forever with you. I think there's so much more. I haven't even touched half of what I wanted to touch base on with you, but thank you for being on. Thanks everyone for joining us today. And, see you soon on another episode of Table 21. Cheers, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank you, Christopher. Appreciate it.